Greetings. Today, the moon continues in Aquarius, heading straight into Tuesday morning's early morning eclipse, solar eclipse, new moon in Aquarius. So we are definitely in that new moon and in the eclipse vibes as we speak, especially with the moon in Aquarius. The exact eclipse is at 28 degrees Aquarius, so it's just before the moon goes into Pisces. So this Aquarian energy is also, and I did a deep dive in yesterday's video on the eclipse and the potent energies of this week. So today I want to focus a little bit more on the planet Uranus as the ruler of Aquarius and the significance that Uranus has for this eclipse. Also, the moon joins Mars just after 10 a.m. Pacific time. I'm Marina Orms here with your Astro Vibe for Monday, February 16th. And so, as I mentioned, early tomorrow morning, 4 o'clock a.m. Pacific time is the exact new moon. And as we know, eclipse energies ripple out from the exact moment into, the energy is big and we feel it for days, if not weeks before and after, even months into the future, even years. You can look back to events that have happened in your life to better understand what aligned with an eclipse and how that was a moment of something shifting in your life, perspective, a new reality, a new awareness, something that really changed your life or turned it in new directions. Expected and unexpected, mostly unexpected, especially with Aquarius energy. So first of all, looking at Mars, the moon in Aquarius passes by Mars in Aquarius this morning, Pacific time, just a little bit after 10 a.m. So early afternoon, or depending on your time zone, could be a totally different time. But that moon conjunction to Mars activates the energy of action, of needing to find our truth, our warrior spirit, our courage, the need to move on something, to move something forward, to take action, to do those little action steps that are going to help further something that is important to us. And with the energy of Aquarius, we are really looking at a big picture. So what do we want for humanity? And Aquarius energy has to do with what we believe in, our ideologies, a cause, something that we want to see change because it's a systemic change. And so we have the way that people come together in groups, in grassroots movements, in social groups, in different ways that people come together to work toward a common cause. Now, that doesn't mean everybody agrees on what should happen, because the energy of Aquarius is also rebellious. So it's going to be naturally looking to the ideology of the future. So not what do we like, but what do we want to see? What do we want to see different? And so that push for change. So we have that Mars energy saying, let's do something about it. Let's find our courage. Let's find our warrior spirit and ask ourselves, what do I care about? What ideologies are important to me? And again, remember, an ideology is an idea. It's not a reality. That's an important thing to remember with Aquarius energy, is that we are talking about possibilities. We are talking about ideas, a vision for the future, not what has manifested. But we cannot manifest that future vision if we can't vision it. If we can't have the idea, we can't create it in reality. So it's really, really important to allow ourselves to think big picture, to imagine what we want, to formulate those ideas, and the rebellious spirit that is going to help us overcome the limitations of the status quo, the limitations of the present that we are dealing with. And so that ability to access those ideas can help us break through, break free from the limitations of the thinking of the past, of the realities of the past. So that Aquarian energy coming together and Mars being in Aquarius is really like, yeah, what is the idea? What is the possibility? And then how are you going to do something about that? How are you going to work together with others toward that cause, toward that idea? Because it's a shared idea with Aquarius. It's not an individual idea, it's a shared rebellion. And when we have a shared rebellion, we can also value our own differences. So that's where freedom comes from, being authentic and being true to who you are, and at the same time, by bringing together our differences, we can move forward on an idea that is important in the collective, to a shared idea, something we can agree is important, even if we don't always agree on how to get there. But that's the work, right? Is to figure out, okay, we agree this is important. So how are we going to do that? And there's definitely trial and error energy here with Saturn and Neptune now in Aries, very close to an exact conjunction that will in fact be exact later this week on February 20th. So now I said I would talk about Uranus, and Uranus is the ruler of Aquarius. So it's an important planet to this eclipse. And when we think about Uranus as the ruler of Aquarius, we can look at, well, okay, so what's going on for Uranus? What's happening to Uranus? What kind of work is Uranus doing? What lessons is Uranus learning, right? Because if we think of each planet as a god, and then you put that god in a zodiac sign, it's like it takes on this persona, and the lessons that it is learning have to do with the sign it's moving through. So Uranus moving through Taurus is learning about what grounds us. What is normal? What do we consider reality to be? And what do we want that to be? So, what do we value? What's important to us in the tangible? What do we want that to look like physically? So we can have the idea, but in Taurus, Uranus reminds us that it needs to be practical, and it needs to be something that we can envision and imagine creating in the real world. So believing in what we value helps us to create in that bigger picture, the bigger picture ideals and the ideas and the possibilities and the vision that we have for the future. So Uranus is in Taurus. It is, so it's moving through that earth sign that has to do with what is normal, what is predictable, what is dependable, which is pretty much nothing right now, right? We don't have, I mean, right, like the normal is unprecedented right now, or unprecedented is the norm. And that is so Uranus in Taurus, is that shakeup, change, unexpected developments, instability, uncertainty. That is the norm. And it is supposed to be with Uranus in Taurus, because we are breaking up the constructs of the past. We are breaking through and breaking free of what has given definition and understanding and grounding and comfort to us in the past, but how that needs to change if we are to create this future vision that we want to step into. So, very, very potent energies with this eclipse. But also, we can look at Uranus as not only in Taurus, but in this double sextile pattern, this triangle pattern, in a trine with Pluto, in a sextile with Neptune, as Neptune is in a sextile with Pluto, and Saturn is conjunct Neptune. So Uranus is not the apex, right? Saturn and Neptune are the apex of the triangle, but Uranus is this point, right? It's almost kind of the leading edge because it is the one that is the most ahead of that grouping of outer planets. So it's the leading edge. It's showing us the way forward, and it is supported by these winds of change with Neptune and Saturn, with Pluto in Aquarius, with Saturn in Aries, with Neptune in Aries. Uranus is supported by all of those energies, but it's also saying we have to embrace changes in reality. It doesn't have to be in a bad way, right? It can be in a creative way as things break down, as things change. We also have that that as things crack, right? There are cracks in the facade of what has been stable and predictable. And as those cracks open up, the light comes through the cracks, and we can see, oh, there is another possibility here. And it is from that light, that essence that is trying to come through, that we can now shape those possibilities into tangible realities. And that is what Uranus in Taurus is leading the pack to say, here's what we can do. And Uranus, of course, is finishing up its time in Taurus. And later this spring, it will be going into Gemini, where it will stay, where Uranus stays in a sign for about 7 years. So it's finishing up right now. It's time in Taurus. Last few weeks in Taurus, as we get to imagine these new possibilities and new tangible realities, getting ready to go into Gemini, where our thinking, right? Gemini is about ideas and communication and information and curiosity and thinking and processing. And it is suddenly going to be elevated to unprecedented new levels of communication, of thinking, of ideas, of thought, of information, how information is functions in our lives. So anyway, before we get there, we've got Uranus in Taurus, and we've got this Aquarius solar eclipse bringing that energy into the here and now. And it very much is saying, what are you going to do about it? How are you going to imagine the future, have that vision for the future, and come together with others in a group, in movements, in social settings, in community, to work together to create what you can imagine. So tomorrow, 4:00 a.m. is the exact solar eclipse, or the exact new moon, which is in the middle of a solar eclipse. And we're in the shift right now. So taking good care of yourself, recognizing, this is a process. You might get insights. You might have shifts in your thinking, shifts in your awareness, shifts in perspective. You might be inspired to take action. You might get clarity about what's important to you, about your values, about your vision, but also it may not happen all the time. Like, there's also a lot of we're just moving through this time. And so it's not all shift, right? It's not all epiphany. Some of it is just that empty space of being in the wonder as we move through this really potent time. And it's all coming to a head in a sense this week, although it will continue uh, into the summer, as those exact sextiles with the outer planets come closer and closer to exact, and Jupiter moves into a cradle formation with Pluto, Neptune, Uranus, and then Jupiter, all four in those four sextiles. So, okay, I'm going to stop there. Thanks for joining me. Don't forget that I have amazing interviews available with the Emergence guest speaker series. So, multiple different guest speakers I've been speaking with about these themes of the big picture, big picture of the planets and the alignments that are happening in 2026, how to understand it, why it's crazy making, and what to do about that, and how to take care of yourself and navigate these times with the best support for yourself so that you can really harness this energy in impactful and empowering ways. So the Emergence guest series, transformationalastrology.com, is where you can go to see what has been posted so far. And we still have several guest speakers left to go. So really incredible, valuable insights with watching each interview. They're all different, and they're all have something really meaningful to contribute that I think you'll find very supportive in this crazy making time that we are living through. All right. Thanks for being here. I'm Marina Orms. Hit the subscribe button if you are enjoying these videos and want to see more, and go to transformationalastrology.com for the full slate of guest speakers on the Emergence series focusing on the Saturn-Neptune conjunction. All right. Bye for now.